welcome to another episode of Beer for Breakfast, ABV. I am Danielle from Marty and Danielle in the Morning on 91X. As always, I have my beer drinking partner in crime with me, Paul Segura, brewmaster of Karl Strauss. And we are stoked to welcome Rawley and Brad from Rouleur Brewing. What's up, guys?
Hello.
Howdy.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Great to have you on the show, man.
Virtual cheers.
Yeah. So there's so many huge things going on with Rouleur between your anniversary and opening another location. But before we get into that, I want to talk about our first beer, this Japanese lager. Tell me all about it, Rawley.
So this is called RAIDA. It's basically a translation of rider. Obviously, we're in a bikes here. Translation of rider from Japanese. It's a traditional Japanese style lager. It's one of 3 lagers we have year round. And we brewed this kind of as a one-off, I would say 2 years ago, and brewed a couple batches, one-off, but brewed a few batches of it. And then just got sidetracked with so many other things, and then COVID. And then we brought it back, I would say the end of last year, and then decided to make it one of our core canned beers. So we got a canning line last year at the end of the end of the year in December. And so, yeah, it's a Japanese lager. It's 50% Pilsner and then 40% rice, white rice, and then some other fun stuff. It uses Saaz and Sriracha Ace, and it finishes pretty dry. It's one of the only beers we filter here. So it's filtered on a plate and frame filter. And yeah, it's just a nice... goes great with, I drink it a lot just on its own, but obviously with poultry and fish, it goes amazing with. And there's a lot of Japanese lagers popping up, so we're happy to have one of them in San Diego. But yeah, cheers.
I'm guessing you had to brew this again because of the public outcry for it after the first time you brewed it.
Yeah, we tried to do it as a one-off, and then it went so quickly that we had to brew it again. And then I'm not sure. I really couldn't tell you what happened, why we had like a year with it off. But now that we have it back and it's on year round, it does pretty well, especially at accounts. I would say it does better at accounts than in our tasting room. But at accounts, it does pretty well, especially with it being in a can.
It's really great. Solid 5%. Like, it's like right there where you can have a few of these, especially in a really warm day like today. This is very refreshing right now.
Yeah, and for the beer nerds out there, it finishes at like around 1.3 Plato, so it's fairly dry. We're adjusting everything always, so I think it's a little sharp on the bitterness, but there's a little room for improvement there. But I love the rice character, in my opinion. Yeah.
So I think Sriracha Ace can be a little polarizing with some people because of the dill-like flavor and aroma, but putting it in a blend makes that component like really muted. It's not, super dill-like, but it's just a hint there.
Yeah.
And I love it. I'm one of those people that I'm totally on board with that Sriracha Ace-like flavor. But the dryness and drinkability of this, I would totally crush this with some really nice sushi.
Mm-hmm.
So we haven't, the whole pandemic has thrown a wrench in everyone's plans, but really what we want to do when things really start opening up, which should be really soon, is we want to get more in the mode of doing these beer pairing dinners at our site here now that we have more space. We expanded last year, so we have a lot bigger space over here, and it would be awesome to have like a mobile sushi truck or a chef come out and do a tray of kind of different fish and sushi platters paired with, mainly starring this beer, and just try and do that with all of our beers. But I've tried it. My staff has done it. We've had plenty of sushi with this beer, and it's really good. But I love Japanese beer. I love it. A nice, clean Japanese lager. It's one of my favorite styles. So to have one of our own is pretty fun.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And you talked about beer dinners. This is the perfect time to talk about you're celebrating your anniversary this weekend. Happy anniversary. Let's go through everything you guys are doing to celebrate.
Yeah, so our anniversary was officially at the end of March. But, pandemic, we didn't get to really have an anniversary last year because it was at the beginning of the pandemic. So the 4-year anniversary is this Friday and Saturday. And we always, ever since we were a year old, Friday has always been our beer pairing dinner. So it's an exclusive event. Our taste room is open to the public, but behind the tasting room, behind the brewery, out in the parking lot, we make it look fancy. Tyson Blake from O'Brien's is our chef every year. So he comes out. It's a 6-course meal. It's definitely an Uber style dinner. You will not be driving home. We pour pretty generous. Your ticket gets you 2 4-packs of our anniversary beer. It gets you the 6-course meal. It gets you open beer bar. So there's an hour before where we socialize and people can wander into the taste room and whatever beer they want, we're not counting. And then there's the beer pairing and we do half pours of everything. It's 6 courses, but there's a total of 8 beers because there's an intermission beer. And then one of the main courses has 2 beers. So it's a lot of beer. No one ever leaves dissatisfied. And it's a lot of
Rouleur knows how to party.
Yeah, so it's outside under tents, and we'll have shade and we have music going. And Tyson's really animated and fun with his staff. Tyson's also helping us as a consultant for our food for our new North Park location. So we just have a great relationship with him. But there are still tickets left. It's this Friday from 5 until 10. So it's a long night. It's an endurance event. Definitely come with your A game and be ready to have fun. And then for those that are still able to drink the next day is our anniversary party. So again, everyone knows we're way into cycling and active lifestyle here. We have a big bike ride at 8 o'clock, or I think it's 9 o'clock this year in the morning. And that goes from 9 until 11:30. Last year was pandemic year. So the previous year, I think we had 450 cyclists show up.
Wow.
It's an incredible amount of people dressed up in spandex. But they all drank afterwards. So, and the beautiful thing this year is we have our outdoor patios still. So from COVID. So we'll have 2 food trucks, beer. Give me that can. Yeah. We're releasing our anniversary beer also. It's called 2x2. Which is a style of riding when you have 2 riders side by side and then 2 riders side by side beside them. So if you're not that good at math, 2 times 2 is 4 for your anniversary. And it's double dry hopped, double IPA. So it was dry hopped twice. It's very one of my dream IPAs. I've never made one like this, but it's 90% Pilsner malt. So I really wanted to dry it out. So it's our first IPA that's not primarily 2-row. And then it's heavily hopped. It's the most expensive beer we've made hop-wise. And it has Eldorado from Hopsbauer. It's a collaboration, by the way, with Liz from Hopsbauer. You can see her logo down there.
Yeah.
It has Vic's Secret, and then it has Southern Sublime. Yeah, we're releasing that. It's actually being canned tomorrow morning and pegged tomorrow afternoon. So it'll be super fresh, ready to go. So that will be sold in 4-packs and on draft, until it's gone.
So ultimate party to celebrate Rouleur's 4th anniversary. You've got the dinner on Friday night, and then you have the celebration, first the ride, and then the celebration all day at the brewery in Carlsbad.
Yeah, so the brewery will open at 11 on Saturday. You don't have to be a cyclist to show up. That's just if you want to do the ride. There's no entry fee. There's no tokens or tickets or anything. It's just, we'll be staffed up to handle the demand. And there's plenty of space in the brewery, the taste room, and the 2 patios.
Awesome. Well, I want to talk about the upcoming second location in North Park opening, but first, let's talk about the ENDO West Coast IPA. This is my favorite beer that you guys make at Rouleur. It's such a solid West Coast IPA. And you have some new canning, it looks like. It looks like new logo.
Yeah, so, I keep going back to the pandemic, but we changed a lot of stuff during the pandemic due to lessons learned and being relevant. And if you remember our old cans, which have been on your show a bunch, they were really dark, and the only thing that changed was the base color. And there was nothing really unique about them from beer to beer. They all had the same basic style. So I keep rotating the wrong way. About 6 months ago, we redid all of our can lineup when we bought our cans. So they all kind of look the same, but they all have different text, different graphics, different fonts used. And this is a beer that actually was supposed to be a one-off ENDO. It was for our second anniversary, and then it kind of immediately killed the flagship West Coast that was in our portfolio then, and we abandoned that one and kept with this ENDO. Again, cycling term, that's end over end, flying over your handlebars. I've done that plenty of times. I think all of us as kids. So yeah, this is our we have a Strata hop contract, and this is what it's used in. So yeah, it's Idaho 7 and Strata. Again, I favor dry beers. It finishes really dry. And yeah, this one has mainly 2-row, 20% Pilsner, and a little bit of wheat in it. And yeah, it's definitely one of our employee favorites after shift beer.
It's so good. Paul, what do you think of this beer?
I like this. I love the dryness on it, and I'm a huge fan of West Coast still. I'm going to drink West Coast forever, but this one has everything I like. It's got the dryness. It's got a nice lingering bitterness, but the hops come across with a lot of fruity flavor. I get the little touch of strawberry from the Strata, but I also get like a pineapple fruitiness that's going on in there. I think maybe that's the Idaho 7.
Yeah. Idaho 7, yeah, it gives us that character for sure. It's one of the only beers we use Idaho in. But yeah, we're still learning about that hop. But yeah, because we have another beer that uses almost all Strata, and they have a completely different aroma. So definitely the Idaho is doing a lot in there.
Those two hops play really well together. I don't remember tasting this particular combo before, and having them both come across so cleanly, so you can almost pick them out. Like, really nice representation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And this beer is it's not filtered, not fined. None of our IPAs we like to fine. And so it is tank time and letting it naturally settle. So yeah, it's Cal Ale, and it's a beer. I think it's in tank 2 right now. So it's always, or in tank 4, it's always in production. Yeah. And I think the new can, it's pretty standard, hop leaves on there, but it's big, bold ENDO. We saw can performance in stores change a lot the second we rebranded. Not really rebranded, but just gave it a facelift and cleaned them up a little bit.
And Paul, I don't know about you, but I can't wait to crush a couple of these before shows at Observatory in North Park, because you guys are opening up your second location soon. Tell us all about the new spot in North Park. We are so stoked to welcome you down here.
Yeah, I'm pumped. Our whole team is excited. It was I think it was just a combination of incredibly good timing, talking to the right people at the exact right moment. But that spot, it's at 2899 University. It shares a wall with the observatory. Our landlord is the observatory. They're super great people. Back before pandemic, they were doing 14 to 28 shows a month during peak season. And they just renovated the inside. They redid the mezzanine. So it has like 1,200 seats now. They're starting to book shows. So we're right there on the corner on 29th and University. We're going to have a small food component, very small, because it's a historic building. So we can't do like a full hood system. So we have to be very creative with how we cook and the equipment we bought. We're expanding the patio. So it's going to go on, down in North Park, there's the patio on University. It's getting widened, and then it's going all the way up 29th to basically the front doors of the university. Or of the observatory, I mean. So I think we're going to have like an outdoor seating capacity of 50. And then that building is just beautiful. It's built in 1929. It's huge windows, lots of cool architecture. So it's the $1 million question everyone asks, and I can't give you an answer. We're waiting on health permit, ABC license, and the patio permit to expand it. Right now, construction scheduled to be done in about 3 weeks. And we're not doing much to it. We're just giving it a facelift, new tile, new bar, new draft system, and cleaning, redoing the bathrooms. It was kind of dated. It was a Starbucks a long time ago. So once we get those permits, I'm hoping in the next 15 days we hear those, and then we'll give you a final release date. And there'll be a lot of industry soft openings and testing out menu items. And this is awesome because it's going to be our first site outside of this place. So it's going to be, I love Carlsbad. It's great, but it's a night and day difference with the lifestyle. I mean, here it's a ghost town at 9 o'clock. There, I've been there working at 9 p.m. and there are people walking by, nonstop asking us when we're going to open. So just much different demographic and vibe.
As a North Park resident and also part of a radio station that holds a lot of concerts at the observatory, we are so stoked to welcome you down to North Park. Congratulations on coming down here. It is going to be such a good time going to Rouleur before all of the observatory shows. They're finishing that park behind the observatory. This is a good time to be in North Park. Congratulations.
If they still hold that there, there'll be a party after Clabapalooza.
Yeah.
I'll drink to that one. I hope this beer's on tap inside because I won't drink anything else. Also, I hope you've already ordered some more of those fermenters behind you because once that place opens, you're going to need.
Yeah. So one other thing, I can't remember if we've talked about it on previous shows because I don't think we have. But middle of last year, we expanded our Carlsbad spot. So remember, we were a brewery igniter where there were 2 breweries next door to each other. Unfortunately, the last 2 tenants couldn't make it. So we finally, during the pandemic, instead of them finding the 3rd tenant, we just took over, and we're not brewery igniter anymore. We bought the equipment from them. So we have that whole other side that used to be their cellar, the other brewery's cellar. They removed the tanks, but glycol's there, the floor drains are there. Everything's ready to accept another 6 tanks over there. So that's where our canning line is at the moment, but there's room to shift it over. And so, we're kind of a little nervous about what's going to happen. If that place, does anything great, it's going to hurt us here. And, but, that's
good
the
thing
kind
to
of,
have, though.
Yeah, the expansion, that's the kind of expansion and growth we've done is just all as needed, ground floor growing instead of having tanks sitting empty. We're always struggling to barely make enough beer with equipment, and we always buy as we need versus just having stuff sitting idle.
Well, Rawley, we are so stoked for everything that's been going on with Rouleur. It's one of those very fun stories that you came on Beer for Breakfast right after you guys first opened, and it's been such an awesome experience watching you guys grow and seeing what is going to happen. So before we say goodbye, is there anything you would like the people to know about what's going on with Rouleur?
I would say social media is the best way. We don't do an email newsletter. I'm not a fan of those. I don't like getting them, but we, follow us on social media. You'll find out everything we're doing, or our website. Brad is our head of sales. So if we're really worried also with North Park because the accounts down there are going to all of a sudden, we're not well known down in proper San Diego. So when we have a spot down there, I'm hoping we're going to see more requests for our beer. And if you're at a place and you like our beer and you want to see it there, by all means, have them reach out to us. Brad is our main guy down there. So, or all around, he's our only sales guy. So,
ask for Rouleur.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. But, and then also one last thing, we're going to be doubling our staff in the next 4 weeks by opening this spot. So, we're hiring, I think we're going to need about 8 beer tenders throughout, to cover a given week. And then we're going to be looking for some kitchen staff. We already hired our site manager who has lots of experience. So if you're in for a job, need a job in the beer industry for a young company, send your resume to us.
That's awesome. There you go. Paul, do you want to leave anything with the peoples before we go?
Well, I know that Rawley's very involved in the brewing community here in San Diego. He gives a lot of himself, his knowledge, and his time to fellow brewers and all of that. He's also done a lot of charity stuff. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of not just the beer drinkers in San Diego, but the beer brewers in San Diego for being an upstanding member of the community.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Cheers to that. And remember, Friday morning, we have Beer for Breakfast on the radio on 91X, 91.1 on your FM radio if you're in San Diego. You can stream from 91x.com, or you can download the app for free in the App Store. We have Beer for Breakfast every Friday morning at 9:05 Pacific Standard Time. Paul Segura will be joining myself and Marty, and we will be drinking Rouleur Brewing this Friday on Beer for Breakfast on 91X. So with that, cheers to independently owned craft beer and radio in San Diego.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thank you so much.
Cheers. Support your local brewery, everybody.